This is 10 steps to fix a miserable marriage. So if you feel like you're stuck in a miserable marriage and there's no way out, listen up. I've got help for you. Okay. So step one, embrace the suck. Yes, it's a fact. Part of marriage is going to suck. I have been in a marriage for 30 plus years, going on 31. And yes, there are a lot of years when that marriage sucked. It absolutely sucked. But what I learned along the way was that the suck is the fertilizer for growth. When a farmer is getting ready to grow a really big harvest, he piles on that fertilizer thick and deep. So if your marriage is thick and deep in the suck, congratulations. It's being fertilized for the most incredible growth the two of you as human beings will ever experience. It's not time to quit. It's time to grab a hoe and start sowing seeds. Okay. So that's lesson number one. Lesson number two, stop blaming your spouse for everything. This one's so hard to do. It's so much easier to blame them for every problem in your marriage. But the reality is, all that does is blind you to the solutions that you could find, the solutions that are within your control. You leave yourself powerless. This is a mathematical reality. If you aren't part of the problem, you can't be part of the solution. So stop blaming your spouse for everything. Yes, they've got contributing factors. Yes, they've got things they're doing that are screwing things up, but so do you. And when you blame them, though, you can't see those things. You can't focus on those things, and you can't fix those things. You have control over exactly one and only one person in that relationship, and it is you. If you're miserable, fix it. Take control of it. Take charge of it. Own it. And that leads me to my next point. Take the lead. Stop reacting to what your spouse is doing. When you're reacting to them, you're allowing them to lead you to become a person you don't want to be. You're allowing them to lead you to a place you don't want to go. Take the lead. Choose who you want to be and do everything in your power not to allow their choices to affect that person. If you give in to rage, if you give in to anger, if you give in to misery, every time they do something, you are letting them lead you. Stop. Be the leader. And this is my fourth point. Try becoming the spouse that you want them to be. Everything that you've got on your list of things that you wish they would be and do, start being and doing them yourself. Show them what it looks like. Show them how it feels like. Even when you don't feel like it, show up. Even when your senses say you should be as petty as they are, don't. Resist the urge. Don't let them define your character for you. Choose who you want to be and be that person, even in the face of theirs. Not only will this help you maintain a better mental health, it will also strengthen your character and help you grow through this difficult time. And eventually, it can cause them to want to become a better person. It can inspire and motivate them to change because you decided to change. They'll start following your lead instead of you following theirs. Go ahead and make your list of all the categories of things you would like your spouse to do or be, the income you'd like them to have, the things that you would wish they would do for you that they've never done, the things that you wish that they would think of that they don't. Okay, start making that list. Sure, fine, go ahead. But while you're doing it, ask yourself, who would I need to be for that guy to show up and want me? Because sometimes the reason your husband isn't the person that you wanted him to be, or your wife isn't the person that you wanted them to be, is because you're not being the kind of person that inspires that. Take responsibility for your own behavior. You can't control them. They're going to make their own choices, but show up the way you would want them to show up for you and start doing those things. Stop dodging the conflicts. You are two different people with two completely different worldviews. You cannot see things the same way. Even when you're staring at the same object, it's physically impossible for you. You have a different perspective on life than they do. And that is okay, and that is good, and that is healthy, and that is part of a good, healthy relationship. But what you're doing right now is blaming them for having a different perspective than you, blaming them for not being able to see things the way you do. If they could, they wouldn't need to be married to you. You wouldn't be useful to them. You wouldn't be helpful to them in growing as a human being. So instead of blaming them for not seeing the world the way you do, or not thinking about things the way you do, or not feeling the way that you do, communicate, relate, explain, use allegories, use your words, my friends. And if you're not really good with words, study up on how to explain things better. Practice. You'll get better over time, and it'll make your life better in every situation. You'll be better able to communicate with people you don't see eye to eye with if you can learn to communicate with your spouse. This one's hard. Stop lying to each other. Now, I know that this is going to raise a lot of red flags. I'm not a liar. I don't lie. We all lie. We all lie to ourselves half of the time. Okay? What I mean by stop lying to them is this. When you are presenting yourself as a person that you're not, you're lying. When you are hiding feelings from them, when you're hiding how you really feel or think to avoid a conflict, you're lying to them. You're deceiving them. You're letting them believe you're somebody you're not. And that's not fair to them. It's not fair to expect them to be who you aren't being. It's not fair to expect them to love a person you've never shown them. Have the courage to be real with them. If you've got stuff you've done in your past that you've never opened up and shared with them, and you're worried they're going to break up with you because of it, face your fears. For one thing, I 100% guarantee you they will respect you a lot more if you are the one to bring it to their attention than if they find out on their own. And trust me, eventually they will find out. Second of all, if you've done something within the course of your marriage that destroyed trust and you know it and you've been hiding it, the guilt and the shame alone has created a wall between the two of you that is an impassable barrier to intimacy. You will not heal until you are honest. Third, about this point, you will never know real love until you have the courage to open up and be 100% honest about who you are, where you are, exactly as you are. And that matters with your spouse more than anything. And when you've had that courage to be 100% honest about who you are, where you are, exactly as you are, you give them the choice. Can they love you there or not? Maybe they can't. But that's on them. At that point in time, that's on them. You've done the right thing. And it's better to be with somebody who knows you that way than to be with an illusion. So if you haven't found the courage to be that honest with them and open up about everything, now's the time to do it. You're miserable, not because they don't love you, but because you've never given them permission to love you. Work on your gratitude. Your spouse does a million things that you take for granted every single day while you're focusing on everything they do wrong. Start making a list of the things that they do well and right, the things that you like about them, the things that you appreciate about them. That list of gratitude, think of everything they've ever done in the past that made you feel particularly loved and particularly special, and give it to them as a gift. Maybe it doesn't change anything, but I promise you, gratitude has a unique way of opening doors that nothing else can. I've experienced it in my own marriage at a point where my husband and I just seemed headed for divorce court. I did exactly that. I sat down and I drew up a list of everything that I could think of that he had ever done that made me feel particularly loved and particularly wanted and special. And I gave that to him. And it broke open the doors to new relationship in ways that nothing else ever could. He needed to know that he'd been seen in those actions. It's very discouraging when you perform actions and it seems like they never get noticed, never appreciated. And if he's not appreciating or being grateful for you, you taking the time to do this shows him what to do. You're teaching him how you want to be treated by how you start treating him or her, if you're a guy listening to this. All right, this one's controversial. Pray for both of you. Okay. It's not just the other person that needs to change. You both need to change, or you wouldn't be in a miserable relationship in the first place. There are things that you can do to improve. And yeah, I hear people all the time say, well, prayer doesn't change anything. That's not true. Prayer changes you. What it does is it sets your brain like a little tuning knob on a radio to the frequency of things you need to be watching for to make his life better or your life better. If you're a guy, it's her life better, right? So it sets the tuning knob to things that you need to do that could make your spouse's life better or your life better. So prayer does have effect. And in fact, prayer is the first thing you should be doing, not the last. Taking action without prayer is guesswork. It's stepping into the atmosphere blind, not knowing what you're doing. You could be adding kerosene to a flaming fire if you act without being aware of what their needs are. Prayer helps you to center your brain, cool down the emotional cortex, and start really paying attention. All right, number 9, look at your spouse as a mirror. Now, if you don't have faith in God, you may choose to totally ignore this next section, but I will tell you this. What I learned the hard way is that my spouse's behavior to me is a reflection of my behavior to God. So if I want my relationship with my husband to improve, then I need to look at my complaints about how he's dealing with me and realize that that is God showing me how it feels for me to do those things to him and asking me to change. When I change my behavior, my husband's behavior inevitably changes right along with me. This is the truth about behavior for every person around you. It's a mirror for your own. It's helping you to learn something. It's helping you to see something about your own behavior that you otherwise couldn't see. And last, number 10, forgive them, not for their sake, but for yours. Okay? Forgiveness isn't saying what they did was okay. It isn't saying that what they did was right. And it isn't saying that there won't be consequences for what they chose to do. Forgiveness just says, I recognize that you did this thing because you're a broken human being and you were trying to alleviate your pain in a way that caused me pain. I don't want to carry the burden of your pain. I refuse to accept that for mine. So I'm going to set down this rock that you threw at me and I'm going to crack it open and I'm going to search through it and find the gems of wisdom that are hidden in it. So those gems of wisdom benefit me. And I'm going to discard the rest so the rock of that pain doesn't weigh me down emotionally. I gain wisdom. I lose the weight of unforgiveness. And it doesn't harden my heart to love. It keeps me open. It keeps me available to love. And it sets me free to become a better person. So forgive them, whatever they've done or not done for that matter, forgive them. Not because of them, but because of you. It makes you a better person. So these are my 10 tips for fixing a miserable marriage. Focus on yourself. You're the only person you can change. And really, that right there, that mindset right there, is the secret to fixing a miserable marriage. Recognize you're the only person you can change. I appreciate you watching. If you liked this, please leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you hated it, leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. What in particular bugged you about it? And if you think you know somebody that could benefit from these 10 tips right now who might be on the edge of a divorce, let's see if we can help them stop that. Share this with them. Even if they get mad, they might learn something that can help them along the way. I'm not afraid of making people mad. I know what I've got and I know it can help them. I have been through so many rocky patches in my marriage. I once spent 3 years angry with my husband, angry with him. And one night I lay down beside him in the bed and I was turned away from him and I realized I was angry not because of anything that he'd really done per se. It was because I felt like he didn't love me and I loved him and I wanted him to love me back. But that anger was hurting my marriage and making me miserable. And it was causing a wall to come up between the two of us. You can't have intimacy between two people who have walls up against each other. So I had to decide whether I wanted to keep my anger or forgive him for his limitations and break the wall down, choose forgiveness, and find a way to make things better. And I did. I chose forgiveness. I chose to focus on the fact that I loved him and I wanted him to love me. And then I sought Jesus' help in prayer. And one of the things that Jesus told me is go back to doing the things you did when you first fell in love with him. Go back to looking at him the way you used to look at him when you were first together. Go back to finding the good in him the way you did when you were first together. Stop picking him to pieces. You're discouraging him. You're causing him to feel like there's no point to this relationship. And you're hurting your attempts to get loved in the process. I changed. I took responsibility for where we were in our relationship. I owned it. And I started leading our relationship to love. I was following Christ's lead, but I was taking the lead to do it. And if you want to improve your marriage, I promise you, you will find no better example for how to love your spouse than to study the work of Jesus Christ and figure out how he loved his spouse, even in her most difficult and impossible to love moments on that crucifix. See, this is the thing people don't tell you. The suck is the cross. And if you don't stay up on that cross long enough for your ego to die, and you are going to feel like you're dying, if you don't stay up on that cross long enough for your ego to die, you do not get to see the glory and the resurrection of your relationship that is waiting for it on the other side. Believe me, there is a better relationship up ahead. You do not need to go to divorce court. You do not need to quit on your relationship. There are no toxic people. There are toxic responses to ugly behavior. You have a choice about how you respond to ugly behavior. You don't have to choose toxic responses. You can choose healthy responses to unhealthy behavior that keep your sanity and your marriage intact while helping you to grow from what they're doing. And that is my encouragement to you. Don't give up on your marriage. The worst parts of it are shaping you. They're like resistance training for the soul. They're training you to become a stronger, healthier, more loving person. Every time you choose to love them past their unlovable behavior, you are growing in your capacity to give and to receive love. You are becoming a better person. So even in their worst moments, they are helping you to grow into a more loving behavior if you use it correctly. And that's my advice to you. Don't climb down off that cross. Allow your ego to be crucified. Allow your ego to be put to death so that a better portion of you, a better person, one they don't even recognize, even though they're familiar with you, emerges out of the ashes of that. And yeah, there's an empty tomb time, right? There's a time between the time of your ego dying and the time of the resurrection when it feels like there's nothing alive, when it feels like nothing is there. Give it the time and keep praying. Trust in God to see you through this. Trust me when I tell you that my husband and I have done everything humanly possible to destroy a marriage, and God has done everything divinely possible to keep it together, and you see who's won. So yeah, this is my 10 tips for you to survive and fix a miserable marriage. And I hope you found them helpful. And if you did find them helpful and you think somebody else might find them helpful, do them a favor and share it. If you like what I've got, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, keep watching. I don't always do these relationship tips. You never know when I'm going to drop one, but I couldn't resist today. Today's a good day to talk about marriage and gratitude. Thanks for watching and have a blessed Sunday.